Thank you so much. We've got about 170 people on the call right now. My name is Mia Walsh, and I am president of PCA Potomac. I'd like to thank you all for joining us this evening to review our protocol and procedures for the VIR-DE, and we're really excited to have you all at the track. Okay, so let me just move my chat over here. Okay, so you all had received the agenda already, so I'm not going to go through that. We're just going to go ahead and start with the PowerPoint presentation. As I had said, we've already begun watching the limits of Virginia, and we are still on Executive Order number 67. The Executive Order number 63 is an order from Virginia which requires that masks are worn while entering, exiting, and traveling through and spending time inside. So we will be following that procedure. It is not as strict as West Virginia is as far as the mask rules, but we just ask you to be very conscious about having a mask around people who are not in your immediate family unit. If you are less than 6 feet apart, we ask that you have your mask on, as well as traveling through and entering and exiting any buildings or spending any time in buildings whatsoever. We prefer a very much stricter policy in the paddocked area. Again, the rules for our Summit Point event were brought on by Summit Point directly. So you can be in a paddock space with someone who is not your immediate family member. That was something that was a Summit rule. We do ask you to keep your masks on while you are communicating with anyone outside of your immediate home. Again, so masks are to be worn walking around the paddock, in bathrooms, and in classrooms. And we ask that you, I see, Claude, I know, I see you shaking your head. We ask that you take very much consideration when you are speaking to other people. VIR has their own set of rules. They were sent out with some of the communications. Some of the rules in the path are listed here. Garage doors must be kept open at all times if you're renting one of the garage units, and it can be closed at night. They don't want you waiting inside if the bathroom stalls are occupied. They have closed the cart track, and they've locked some of the buildings as well as some of the public bathrooms in the North Tower. I found it very humorous that they had to write in their listing that you are not allowed to spit in public areas. So for those of you who like to spit, you are going to have to find your own private area in which to spit. I did do a little research on that, and apparently during some of our other pandemics in the world, spitting was also banned. So I'll chalk that up to Southern Virginia and North Carolina, but please do not spit in public areas. So thank you. We at Potomac have had a few things that we've brought to the people who are coming to our event. If you are a student and you do not wish to use one of the instructor's students' headsets, those have been used by other people. We did purchase a large number of those from OG Racing, and we have them available for you to purchase through our MSR link. That link has been sent to you before. If you can't find it, if you want, we can have it put in the chat again. You do need to order these by tomorrow around noonish because they will be put in bags and given to you during registration on Friday. In addition, we have PCA Potomac face masks that are available for purchase using that same link. They wrap around your head, but you can tie the strings together to go around your ears. They have a space for filters as well if you would like to put a filter inside the 2 layers of fabric. They are non-medical grade. So please know that both of those items need to be ordered by tomorrow around noon so that they're ready to go and be available for you at the track on Friday morning. We are so grateful and thankful to all of our instructors who have volunteered their time to get into a car with their students. One of the best parts of having a DE program is having the students in the paddock and on the racetrack, and we cannot do that without volunteers who are willing to instruct students. For that, all of our instructors who have been assigned a student, we are providing you a goodie bag with KN95 face masks, with a 2-ounce hand sanitizer that was purchased from a local distillery in Washington, D.C. We have many sets of gloves, the medical blue gloves. If you are interested in them, we will have extra ones of those at check-in as well as sanitizing wipes. So you will be given those instructors as you go through the registration line. And again, bottom of my heart, thank you so much for being willing and able to take a student during this pandemic period. We have a lot of steps that we're going to take, and we'll talk about that here. So we will be doing temperature screening for any student as well as any instructor who has a student assigned to him or her. The temperature screening for students will take place during your registration tech line each day. The chief instructors will talk about your tech line. You do need to go through tech all 3 days, so every morning, but they'll talk about that in more detail. We had a nurse who was at our last event who was doing the temperature screenings, and she was very concerned for some people whose temperatures were so low. They had come in through with air conditioning on, and they were not able to get an accurate reading. So when you're coming through for temperature screenings, we ask that you don't have a baseball cap on, and that you don't have your air conditioning blowing on your head, because that will change what your reading is saying. So just keep those 2 things in mind. And I'm going to just take one pause because there are a lot of chats coming in, and I just want to make sure that okay, so one of the questions was, do we have to wear masks under our helmets while on track if we have an instructor? We will be addressing that just shortly, so thank you. And it looks like there was a tech form question, and it looks like that was addressed, so thank you for addressing that. As part of the COVID best practices, every day that you come in, you need to ask yourselves these questions. And again, if you have answered yes to any of these questions, we ask you to please cancel your reservation, your registration. And again, if you have an immune system that's compromised, that we ask you to consider that before coming to the event. So these were sent out in some of the dialogues via email that we have, and so please continue asking yourself these questions. Okay, so we now have our DE chairs are Susan Kimmett and Bob Mulligan, and they are going to take over from here, and we're going to do it together. I'm going to do a screen share. You can see, hopefully you can all see Susan and Bob right underneath of me is how I'm seeing it. So
am I the pretty one?
You're both the pretty ones. So if you guys could take it away, I would appreciate it.
Susan, how about I start and then you fill in Anything that I missed?
Absolutely.
Okay, this is Bob Mulligan, and as Mia, first of all, thank you, Mia. Um, it's a tremendous effort from everybody, so we don't need to go through that. I'm just going to run through a couple of the logistical things that are a little bit different than our normal events. So please, all of this has been followed up by emails from Diane and from Mia, and but for the most part, hopefully there are no surprises. But let me just sort of run down them. When you show up on Thursday or Friday morning, before you get to the gate, there's a mandatory, we're going to waiver the heck out of you all. There's a total of 4 waivers, and Laura and crew will go through the PCA Potomac ones, but VIR has 2 waivers that have to be signed and turned in, printed, signed, and turned in at the entrance gate. So please, they will not let you in without getting those signed. So there's a COVID waiver, and also one that's called K&K. It's a group that they use for their documentation. So please make sure you get them printed. One of them asks for a witness. I think you can have anyone witness it. That's the take I've taken on it, but they need to give an address. So please print those forms out before you get there Thursday or Friday morning before you get in. They will not let you through the gate. Let me go through, just so you also know, the morning meetings, we've changed them from our normal where we cram everybody into classrooms. These we will, depending on the weather, we do have a pretty large space underneath the garages that can handle pretty much everybody. So the morning meeting will be over the PA. If it is not in that building, we will make announcements. We're also on FM radio 89.9 on your FM in your car. The meeting will be broadcast over that. So please, the morning meetings are mandatory. As you know, they always are. This is the first part of our meeting, but the second part is at the track every morning. It's clearly written at the time on your schedule, which has been published, and I'm pretty certain Diane has issued that for publication out to everybody. Another one. One thing about watching for numbers, we did in fact watch very carefully the number of students that we felt comfortable letting at this track. With the larger classrooms, and we do have a couple of classroom sessions, we did feel that we could let a little bit larger number of students in than we had at Summit Point. But we do have the space to socially distance everybody. But we did, in fact, throttle that, and it turned out that with cancellations and whatnot, we pretty much hit our numbers thanks to a diligent crew in registration and the whole support and on-track registration, everything to get those number of people through. Number 4 is the gates opening at VIR. VIR is not flexible about when you arrive. If you come Thursday night, which we highly recommend if you can get there in time, they do not open until 6 p.m. They won't let you through at 5 of. And if you do get there early, they whisk you off and make you go to the industrial area within VIR Park, but it is not at the paddock, so you really haven't gained much by getting there early. We recommend you just try to show up right there at 6 o'clock in the evening. And I believe, and if anyone knows for sure, Friday morning, I think the track opens at 6:30. I have found a couple of conflicts that said 6 and 6:30. I'm almost certain it's 6:30 as the front gate opens on Friday morning. Let's see. And I think I only have one more item. If you're not familiar with it, we are utilizing, or we intend to utilize at this event, text messages through Motorsport Reg. And to do that, though, you have to opt in. Every person has to opt in on their membership page on MSR. And in Mia's messages and in the DE registrar's emails, it has that exact procedure to go in and opt in. I highly recommend it because we're getting a huge number and we intend to use that. It's a little better than texting the chief instructors. And so we'd love it if everybody would opt in for text messages. And it's under your membership screen. You go in and you edit your own profile that is Potomac driver ed and opt in. You can do it by organization, so be careful. If you're running multiple clubs, you can opt in for one and not be opted in for PCA Potomac. So, Susan, I'm sure I missed something. Those were the items that were on Mia's latest agenda. And
Okay.
did you have anything?
First of all, is my audio on? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I always mess that up. We are going to have Track Keeper up and running,
Right.
which is useful for people that want to keep their phone with them. Yeah, just wanted to make a quick comment about a lot of confusion about registration for guests or crew. That's really kind of, a lot of that was out of our hands. That was pretty much in the hands of PCA National, because to get insurance, you really needed to limit the number of people there in order that we could testify that we are meeting everyone's criteria. So we apologize if there's a lot of confusion. For folks that have done our previous events during this COVID epidemic, you kind of were aware of that, but people from out of region, this was kind of a little bit of an awakening thing. And again, we apologize for that, but don't want to keep people away, but we have to basically meet everyone's criteria to get the insurance coverage. And the only other thing I want to say is it's going to be hot. I say this every time. It's going to be hot. Please bring whatever you need to hydrate yourself up and stay as cool as you can. It's a big place. There's a lot of concrete down there. Not a lot of tree coverage. So just be sure you do whatever you can to take care of yourself. And if anyone gets sick and it's more than just heat, then please let somebody know. And, as far as I saw there was a question about refunds and all of that, we'll talk about that later. But at this point, the big thing is to keep everybody as safe and healthy and comfortable as you can be. So just keep an eye on yourself, keep an eye on your buddies, and and have a good weekend. Keep everything safe. We want everybody driving away with the car as good as it was when you brought it in.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to address some of the questions that came in through the chat. So one of them was from Bashara. If you feel sick in the next day or two, you absolutely can cancel up until the day of the event, and you will get a refund for your registration. There is no tech and registration on Thursday evening. That will not begin until Friday morning. You are not allowed in tents to camp overnight at the track, but if you have a big mobile trailer, you are allowed to sleep in that. Let's see. You can bring a car trailer, and you may leave that trailer and the track car at VIR overnight. Okay, so I think that's all of the chats before we get to let's see. If you have to have someone witness the form before you arrive at the track, yeah, so you're going to have to just print that out. It could be your 18-year-old child. It could just be anybody, just someone. It doesn't need to be a notarized witness. The camping answer is you are not allowed to camp in tents. But if you have a hookup and a large motor trailer that you're going to have in the paddock, you are allowed to sleep in that. Okay, I think that for right now that's good. As Bob mentioned, we already limited the amount of classroom, the number of students, but we are also limiting the classroom size as far as the time. And so we normally have classrooms every day for our students. You will see on the schedule that is limited. So you really want to ensure that you have an open communication with your instructor for any questions that are going to pop up between you two. There's the screenshot of the track keeper. Again, you needed to opt in. And now we are going to go through some of the registration pieces. Laura has done a fantastic job of communicating with us, and we are going to let her take over from here. So thank you, Laura.
Great picture, Mia. I love it. Mia, do you have the, you have the maps on the PowerPoint? Well, we can get to them in a minute. I just want to thank everyone for signing the speed waivers. From now on, the link for those will be in your confirmation email, as it was in this case. So the earlier you sign them, the easier the process is. And keep in mind, I think Bob said this, but those online waivers are different from the VIR paper waivers. You still have to bring those VIR paper waivers with you to get entry to VIR. For the speed waivers, I still have several people that have not signed the speed waiver. Eric Hagerson, Kimberly Harrison, David Mellor, Joe Mitterer, and Chip Taylor. I've sent emails, I've made phone calls to people's homes, mobile phones. You cannot register on Friday morning until you have done that. I am here to help you until Wednesday afternoon. After that, you're on your own. That's part of the reason that we push you to get these signed, is in case you run into any issues, as I know Chip Taylor had. I can try to help you work through that. But Friday morning, it's going to be too late. You're going to have to figure out how to do it on your own. So Mia mentioned the crew and volunteers policy that was detailed in the confirmation email that you received. And it is to limit the number of people in the paddock. And basically you are limited to bringing one crew member, somebody who's going to volunteer for the event. And they needed to be registered just like all of us, just like a driver in MSR in the event, as either crew or a volunteer. And they also needed to sign the speed waivers. So we've had a lot of people saying, oh, I didn't read my confirmation email. Oh, can I bring a crew member? Can I do this? And you're causing great havoc for poor Diane having to deal with all of that. So please read your emails, people. Just read them so that you're not causing people frustration by being that person. Crew and volunteers do need to register on Friday morning through the process that I sent out today and that I'm going to go over tonight. We can make some rare exceptions to that if really need be, but I really need everyone to do that. That's the safest way for you, as well as for our volunteers, is to have everybody go through registration on Friday morning. So when you get there Friday morning and you're trying to figure out, what do I need to do? First thing you need to figure out is, where's your speed waiver credential? That's the photograph of you that you received when you signed the speed waivers, preferably with your name on it, so that we can see that. Where is it? Put it in your car, and also take a face mask. Now, next thing, if you're not an instructor, you can do tech or registration first. They're in two different places. Do not dawdle. We have a lot of people to get through tech and registration on Friday. We're not able to do it Thursday night because we need a lot of people to do these new processes. So we can't do it Thursday night, which means Friday morning is going to be busy. Don't show up late. Don't wait. Get in line, get moving. Look and see which line is shorter. Go do that one first. If you're an instructor, same thing. Pure Tech, even if you're not instructing this weekend, even if you don't have a student assigned to you, if you are an instructor in our system, you can do the Pure Tech. Fill out that second page of the tech form, and you can hand walk it over to Tech. And Tech will take it from you and give you your tech sticker if you're an instructor. So you can do either one first. So Mia, do you happen to have did I send you the context map? I don't know if you have the other map. No, just this one. That's okay. I sent out in the email you received today a map that shows you a little bit of context as to where registration and tech will be. If you're not familiar with VIR, even perhaps if you are, when you drive into the paddock, when you're coming, after you've come through the gates of VIR and you're entering the North Paddock, on the far left-hand side, you will see some garages along the pit lane. And over towards the right, you'll see some gas stations and even further some buildings. Over there on the right is what's called the tech barn. And on the right side, that's where tech will be. For registration, it's going to be in what's called the false grid, or up on the hill on the left side where the carports are. That's where we're going to have registration. So just so you know where things are. Now in the registration map that Mia has up right now, I've got lines drawn in there, but all you're really going to see there is a registration flag. So you have to be knowledgeable of which line you're going to get in, whether you're in the far right lane, which is the red line, or whether you're in the left lane, which is the purple lane. So in the red lane, we have to do this because of our temperature checks. That's the reason this is so complicated. For the red line, if you're a green student, a blue student, an instructor that was assigned a student this coming weekend, or if you made any purchases, as Mia mentioned, you bought a face mask, some hand sanitizer, a communicator, then you are going to get in that far right or red lane. And then if you're not in any of those categories, please get in the purple lane. It doesn't behoove you to get in the red lane because that's where the temperature checks are, and they're just going to confuse the people doing those as to why you're in that lane if you are not in need of either a purchase or a temperature check. So know which line you're supposed to get in first off. If you're in the red line, meaning you're a student, you're an instructor for this weekend, when you get to where those yellow X's are in the red line is where the temperature checks will be. There are 2 people doing temperature checks, so we'll just spread the grid out if there's several people in line, and they'll move your cars through 2 at a time. Right there is also where we'll have any of the purchases that you may have made, or if you're an instructor, you'll receive your instructor bags there as well. So lots happening right there before you've even registered. After you've done that process, you'll proceed through into the little carport area where you will see a person, either Colleen or me, with a device with a phone. And this goes to the purple line too, so I'll include them as well at this point. If you're in the purple line, when you get to us, same procedure. So for either one, when you're under the carport, what you're going to do when you get to us, we have a phone, you're going to realize you're under the carport. Now's the time to get your speed waiver out. Your windows should be up. That's the whole point of doing contactless registration. So get out your phone with your speed waiver, or if you've printed it, put it against the window, the driver's window, and just leave it there for a second, because what we're doing is we're looking at your name and we're looking at your photograph to make sure you're the same person in the photograph to prove that you did sign the waiver and that you're the person who's going to get a wristband, you're the one who signed the waiver. We're going to see your name, we're going to look you up in MSR on our phone, and we're literally going to check you in through the registration system through MSR. You'll be checked in, and then I will yell to a volunteer who will be on the passenger side, whether what run group you're in or you're a volunteer. They will take an envelope that has a wristband, the right color wristband, whatever that might be for you, and they will put it under your windshield wipers. At that point, you are done. We're not checking driver's licenses, giving out dots for run groups, anything. At that point, you are free to drive on. And this is where things get a little messy. If you've given a minute to even look at the map, you will see that we have lanes converging. There will be somebody directing traffic right there where the purple lane is exiting registration, exiting the carports, to make sure we don't have any collisions. However, we all know that we're responsible, we're supposed to be aware, situationally aware drivers. Please be careful. If for some reason that person directing traffic isn't paying attention, you don't want to ram into somebody. And if you're somebody in the purple line, the last thing you want to do is come plowing out there without bothering to look to your right. So we've got to figure out a way to do this. This is the best way I could come up with, but I need everybody to be careful in orchestrating this. There will also be somebody directing traffic where the 2 lines start, so that we make sure that we don't have any issues there. One question we often get with this process is, well, my race car doesn't have windows. Use your tow vehicle. Just get in your truck, come through registration. Even if you have to tech that car, go tech it, take it back to the paddock, get in your tow vehicle, come through registration. Passengers. Sometimes there are going to be passengers in a car. That's fine. We ask if it's possible, if you have a back seat, for the passenger to be behind the driver. It makes things a little bit easier because the person checking people in on MSR is on the driver's side. If you're in the passenger side, that's fine. Just give us a minute because we're going to have to do one person at a time. There's only one person at that green dot doing registration who can check anybody in. So we have to do one at a time. I think that gives the basic gist. We can take questions in the chat if anybody has any. Also, everybody received my email with these instructions. If there's something unclear to you, ask it now, email it to me, and I'm happy to figure that out and solve that problem for you before Friday morning.
Okay, so thank you, Laura. We had one person does not have a driver's window. So if you are in a race car with no windows, just please have your mask on. You should have your mask on going through the line anyway, but we understand that that is the case. And we had a specific one who had a BTEC UV5X3 programmable handset with mic and earphones. I'm not quite sure who sent that in. I'm only seeing a copy of it. Please communicate that directly with your instructor. We did purchase, Potomac purchased 5 full Chatterbox communication systems that we can loan to our instructors who have assigned students. So in case there is a communication system that's not, the headset of the student isn't matching the ones from your instructor, we do have loaner ones that we can provide to the instructor. How do we get the VIR waiver forms? They are in a couple of the emails that Laura has sent out, and I thought I saw an earlier, no, so maybe I'm going to ask Diane or Ken if there's a PDF to please upload those waiver forms. The person must have missed it in the, it says that Sunday evening email. It was sent at 9:00 p.m. on Sunday. If you can't find it, but I'm thinking that maybe Diane or Ken could actually upload that document into the chat as well. Okay, so thank you. There we go. Thank you for sending that. I appreciate that. It's in there. I'm going to just back for 1 second. Again, what mask on, window down for the face screening, name and run group. They really want you to say your name and run group, turn off your AC, don't wear a baseball cap. The next one is the speed waiver, we're good. VIR waivers, mask must always be worn in the registration. We didn't go through this as we have done in the past, but for the people going through registration, drivers, your wristband and sticker, the stickers will be placed under the wipers when you go through the registration. This time only, we haven't done this before, but for our instructors, your instructor wristband will be in the white bag that you get with the goodie bag with the masks and the sanitizer and the gloves. That will also have your instructor wristband. So please make sure that you grab that out of there. You can't get into a car with a student unless you have, it's an orange wristband. So just, that's new. If you have driven with us in the last few events, we did not do it that way. So that is new. You have to really look for that. And let's go. So now we are moving on to tech inspection. And we have Daniel Salisbury that is going to be taking over for this. So Daniel?
Yes, hi everyone. So actually Laura covered a lot of some of the basics of tech, so I will try to fill in some additional details. Tech will be at the tech barn, which is near the pagoda. If you aren't sure where that is, look at the paddock maps that have been sent out. But when you come into the paddock, you turn right and past the gas pumps, you'll see the tech barn down there. Tech will be each morning from 7 to 7:55. We have a lot of cards to look over, so as has already been said, don't be that person that shows up late at the last minute with all of your gear in the car. So when you get there, you want to unpack your car. You want to put your numbers on the car. That means put numbers on the front, on the back, and both sides of the car. And then you can head to tech or you can head to registration. It doesn't matter what order you go through. We want you to leave your windows up. We want you to stay in your car at all times, but also have a mask handy in case we need you to roll down your window and ask you a question. Your tech form should be on your windshield, underneath your windshield wiper. There's a great arrow there. If it's raining, please do us a favor and don't leave it on your windshield. Keep it inside your car and we'll take it from you when you pull into the tech shed. We don't want a bunch of wet, soggy forms. We will be looking over cars as normal. Inspectors will be wearing masks. What we're going to do is we're going to ask you to drive into the tech barn. You're going to follow the instructions of the inspectors, and you're going to wait there until you get a tech sticker. For students and non-instructed drivers, you need to come to tech each day. For registered instructors, you need to have someone peer tech your car, and then you can walk over to the barn, and Ken Larson will be there to collect your tech form and give you a instructor sticker. For everyone, we want to make sure that your tech form is filled out before you show up. So that means put your name at the top, fill out all the information about the event, your run group, your car number, and then on the back, you need to sign it, you need to date it, you need to have your emergency contact information in there. And then, as previously said, we're not going to do any tech on Thursday night. We just don't have the capacity to do it Thursday night. So we have a lot of cars to look at on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So please show up at 7 and don't show up with your car full of stuff. And if you don't make it through tech by 7:55, you'll have to find me or one of the other tech chairs to have your car inspected. And I will let the chief instructors know which garage I'm in, so that they can make an announcement on Friday. And I think that's it, Mia.
Thank you so much, Daniel. I got a question that was, Ken, is there an event on Monday, or do people have to leave Sunday night? Normally, you can leave your trailer Sunday night and then take it on Monday. And if let's go with that assumption. Our track coordinator will verify that with VIR, and if that is not the case, then we will send an email out. But normally, yes, you may leave your trailer overnight Sunday night and grab everything in the morning.
Mia, if I could interrupt, sometimes they've asked us to move your trailer towards the entrance to the paddock where you came in to give the space for people if they do come in first thing Monday morning, is to move your rig, because you're probably going to have it all buttoned up and ready to go. Just do it to the far side of the paddock, very near where you entered the paddock, is what they've asked us to do before. Again, it could vary.
Okay, thank you. We had a couple other questions that came in. Do we have to put an X with every number for students if it's not a thing? So we ask you to put an X on the back of your car in blue painter's tape if you have not driven that track before. So if you have not driven VIR before, it is wonderful for you to put an X on the back so the cars coming up behind you know that you are new to that track, and it's going to take you a day or so to figure it out. So yes, so thank you. Will the instructor be able to drive my car to show me how fast it can be? Well, instructors, Bob, maybe I haven't looked at the schedule, so that's my fault, but will there be an opportunity in the morning for?
Yes, Mia, there's what we call orientation laps from 8:45 until 9 o'clock, which is right before white goes out on Friday morning. There will be, and please be on time for that. 15 minutes isn't a tremendous amount of time on a 3.27 mile track. So you need to get at least 3 or 4 laps in, and that's going to be about it. But 8:45 on Friday is on the schedule.
Yeah, but Bob, it's not a speed lap. It's a.
I'm sorry. Good point, Susan.
It's a
it's
highway.
45.
Yeah,
right,
it's a highway speed lap.
Yeah, 55 miles an hour, no helmets,
Yeah.
and no passing. It'll be a yellow flag condition where you're just to see the landmarks and to get your orientation on where it is. Yeah, thank you for sure, Susan. It is not a competition lap, so to speak.
But your instructor will be able to drive your car out.
Yes, and in fact, we recommend that. If you can't find your instructor, these are going to be in parade lap form. Don't not go out if you haven't if for some reason you don't find your instructor. It is not, you are capable of driving. It's more of a lead follow, but please, your instructor will have met up with you before that, and do try to coax them into doing it. They love doing it.
And so we will be pulling our chief instructors in for the next portion. And some of the questions were about instructor pairing. So I'm going to let them go ahead and talk about that. Our tech inspectors will also be wearing masks on, etc. So contactless grid, I believe, Laura, that this was, do we have Pat Kaunitz on the line?
Jordan Applebaum may be on to explain grid.
Jordan, okay. Jordan or Pat?
Hello.
Hello.
Yes. So this is actually an outdated picture. I don't know if it's possible if I can share mine with the correct one.
Yep.
Or otherwise I can try emailing you it real quick.
You can put it in the chat.
I'm not sure quite how I would do
Okay.
that, but I could try sharing my screen.
Let me see what I can do for that. Okay, you should be able to do that now.
Okay. Did that? It does not work. All right, let me go back to here. Are you seeing the picture?
Yes, we are.
Okay, that's weird. Okay, all right. So since you can see it, so here's the updated picture, and as you can see, hopefully, the two alley access roads that are right up against the fence line where the grass is, the green strips there, those are going to be coned off at the middle section where the perpendicular access lane is coming into the grid entrance. We do not want any cars trying to cross in that area right above where grid is written. We need everybody to approach grid from that perpendicular access road. And you'll see there is a series of parallel roads. You can go through any except the one that's right against the fence line. And of course, we'll ask everyone to not block intersections and be cognizant of that. Otherwise, the only thing I can say is that, as Dan and others have probably mentioned, we have a very large number of people attending the event. And unlike pre-COVID, we do not have a large number of people who will be manning grid. It will generally just be one person there. You'll see me a lot, and you'll see one or two other people the rest of the time. So we will be trying to do that as quickly and efficiently as possible to get people staged up and out onto the track. So I would ask, especially for everyone, to make a concerted effort to try to not show up in the last 2 minutes before you're scheduled to go out. Traditionally, green and blue are pretty good about showing up early. White is so-so, and the advanced groups tend to show up the last minute. I realize that some people are coming from the track with the student they were just instructing, and if you can't help it, that's understandable. But for everyone who does have that ability, please try to come in the 5 to 10 minutes before your session starts. This will allow us the time to do the proper checks that we need to do. Even though we will try to do them as quickly and efficiently as possible, it will allow us to do those checks in a timely fashion that will allow us to get through the large numbers of people we have to, one at a time, to get everyone out. So this is a help me help you thing, because I want to make sure that you get all of your track time and we avoid large numbers of people who are impatiently hoping to get on track while we still have to make sure that everyone is going out in the right run group and has the basic safety checks done. That is essentially all I had to say about grid for this weekend. Susan has something.
Jordan, you want to just tell them what you're checking, because
Sure.
that way they'll know what to do to speed it up.
Yes. So thank you for that. So the first thing we check is your wristband. So Assuming you have a window that goes down, please have your arm out and visible with the wristband. We can see that from a distance as you're coming up. Please make sure it's not tucked under a glove or under a sleeve. It happens all the time, but again, the more that we can have everything smooth and efficient, the faster we can go through everyone. So have your wristband showing, and that applies to everybody in the car, instructors and students alike. Please make sure we can see it. And if you're an instructor, we need to not just see your black or red wristband, we need to see the orange instructor wristband. So please have those visible. Other than that, we are doing the basic checks of things like seat belts, your chin strap on your helmet. So we'll want to visually very quickly see that your seatbelt is on, and then we'll be looking under your chin. And the fastest way that you can get through grid is when we see you, and as soon as we see your wristband is good, if you can go ahead and stick a finger under your chin strap and pull on it. We're not going to really be seeing you pull on the chin strap, but the fact that you're trying to pull on it and your finger's not, pulling away right away, just the act of making you check and letting us see that it's there will let us very quickly know that it's done. Additionally, if you're wearing a Hans, which is required if you are wearing harnesses, anything other than a standard 3-point street seat belt, then we will also be checking to make sure a cursory inspection is to make sure by tilting your forward and making sure that they catch. And all of these things that we check, no matter how simple or basic you may think they are, every single day we catch people who have inadvertently neglected to do some of these things or gotten confused and shown up the wrong time, so for the wrong group. So these are all important things that we're looking for, and that's the highlights. Thank you, Susan.
Okay, Jordan, thank you so much. We did have a question about the pagoda and food, and so I was remiss in saying a couple of things. There is pre-ordering available for both the clubhouse tavern food for dinner, as well as there's a new order online feature for the pagoda. And as well as their normal menu, they have pizza. So you know how crazy it is when you're trying to get food at the grill there area. They don't want people hanging out underneath of the covered area to eat. You have to take your food back to your own private area in your paddock to eat. But you can also order and pay online. So I haven't used that function yet. We can send that out in the chat. You can find it on the VIRnow.com website under dining, and it gives you the opportunity to order for both the evening dinners as well as breakfast and lunch online. So thank you for that question. And thank you, Diane, for posting. The link is in the chat for ordering. So if you might want to click on that and just get that popped up in your browser so you can have that for the future, or copy and paste it and put it somewhere. So I think that that's going to be a bit, it's pretty nutty there with the amount of orders that they have. Okay, so now we are going to have our chief instructors talk. And so we have Don Matran and Sean Reiki and Steve Wilson. So would our CIs like to take over?
Thank you, Mia. My name's Don Matran, and I'm one of the chief instructors covering the event for this upcoming. Sean Reiki is the other. Steve Wilson is unfortunately not going to be with us for the event, but we have everything all under control, and we are very much looking forward to seeing everybody out at the track. We can have some fun in another few days. So I just wanted to go through some very quick things so that everybody is familiar with some of the things that we're going to be doing that is a little bit different. And Sean is going to talk about the driving evals process, and also about some of the matching with the instructors and the students. So the event is fairly full. And so we're asking everybody, please, to stay in your own run group. If there's an issue that you have, if you think you're in the wrong run group, please come and see us. We've had the last couple of events, a number of people who are running in the upper run groups who just feel like they want to run in a lower run group. And so we look at that and we see if it makes sense. So please come and see us if you think there's an issue with your run group. We, as it says here, there's no ride-alongs in any of the run groups above green and blue. So if you're white, black, or red, there's not going to be any ride-alongs. If there's something that's really unusual, come see us. We obviously, we need to be flexible in everything that we're doing, but for the most part, we're going to try and stay away from any kind of ride-alongs in the upper run groups. The instructors are only going to have one student. That's for very obvious reasons with regard to the virus. As far as the having instructors and students ride with each other, we are allowing instructors to take their students out in one run group higher than where the student is. So that means, most of you are familiar with this, if the instructor is instructing somebody who is in green, the instructor can drive their student in the blue run group. If it's a blue student, the instructor can take their student out in the white run group. There's no permission required for this. We've been doing this a long time and it works very well. So all that is you don't need to get any permission from Sean or myself. Again, everybody else, please stay in your own run group. Unless you think there's something that doesn't make sense, come see us. As far as some of the protocol, in the instructors and the students working with each other, you know, obviously you got to use hand sanitizer and all that. When you're in the car, you need to have your helmet on and your face shields down. That's really very important. And any kind of discussion that you're going to have, debriefing after the run session, please get outside the car. And if you're within 6 feet of somebody, then you definitely need to be wearing a mask. Please, it's important to stick by this. It's the last couple of events, we're not aware of anybody that's been sick, and we've really had some very great compliance with people wearing masks and socially distancing. It's worked very well. A couple other things. Please print out the schedule. And we do have Track Keeper, which was mentioned before, and some of the links to that. But please print out the schedule. There is a couple of things that we're trying to do with regard to texting. It's my phone number that's in there, and I actually got a text from an instructor earlier today asking a question. So if you have something that you don't feel comfortable coming up to where the chief instructors are, please send us a text and we'll get back to you as quick as we can. The other thing is the outgoing texts, and it was mentioned that you need to go in and please opt in and allow us to be able to send you texts. This has been working with club race events for a long time. It's very, very effective. It's a great way for us to communicate with everybody. So there's an August 13th email from DE Registrar from Diane Sollenberger. Please go in and find that. It gives you all the instructions about how to go in. And there's a couple of links inside MSR that you need to go through, and it's fairly easy to go in. Put in your cell phone. We understand there's about 24 of you on the call that you do not have your cell phone linked into MSR. So please go in and put your cell phone in and opt in so that we can send you a text in case we want to communicate with everybody. Just a reminder, tech is all 3 days in the tech barn in the main paddock. Mia mentioned putting an X on your car. If you are new to the track, if you've never driven the track, it's not to scare anybody, but it is not an easy track to learn. Once you learn it, it is an amazing track. It's, as Paul Newman said, it is heaven on earth. So don't get frustrated if you're having a hard time learning the track. It does take a little bit of time to do that. And having the X on the car makes it easier for people to see that you're new to the track. The other thing, if you've been recently promoted, so let's say you've gone from the blue group to the white group, and so you're new to the white group, it probably makes some sense for you to put X on your car on the back with blue painter's tape, as Mia mentioned. It lets the other people in the run group know that you're fairly new to either the group or to the track. So please do that. Let's see. The only couple other things I would say is that you're getting lots of emails and there's lots of information. So please read through everything. It'll help you a lot if you read through every single piece of information that's come out. We know it's a lot. We appreciate you understanding that there is so much to go through. So please read it through. Give yourself a checklist. Write down the things that you need to do prior to the event and at the event itself, and it'll probably make things a lot easier. Less confusion at the track means that there's less of a chance for us to have incidents, and that is our number one goal, is to have no incidents. We don't want to see anybody have to take their car home on a trailer, and if there are no incidents, that's the first way we're going to have fun at the track. That's our ultimate goal, is to have fun, but with incidents, that kind of eliminates our opportunity to have fun. So please make yourself some checklists. And as Susan mentioned, Susan Kimmett, one of our DE chairs, please hydrate. That is so critical to when it's hot. You need to be going to the bathroom probably every half hour to 45 minutes. If you're not doing that, you're probably not hydrating enough. So that will help you to make better decisions on the track when it's really hot. So at this point, Sean, if I missed anything, which I'm sure I did, you can chime in, but also talk about the process with the driving evals and all that sort of thing, please.
May I interrupt for a moment?
Yes, absolutely.
We have a few chat questions coming in, so I'd like to address them.
Yep.
Does VIR have a virus questionnaire that needs to be filled out? From what our registrars can confirm, there's just those 2 documents that need to be completed. Are short sleeve shirts going to be allowed? The instructors the chief instructors start with long pants, long sleeves, and then depending on the weather may move to short sleeves and may move to shorts. So bring a little wardrobe with you, but you should have long pants and long sleeve shirts to start out your day. The open-faced helmet question. If you have an open-faced helmet, you must have a mask on under your helmet. So the other part of this is you and your instructor, you will be communicating this week to go over your protocols and what you're comfortable doing. We did allow a mask under a helmet if both of you and your instructor agree to have your visor up. So a visor up, a lot of people obviously are more comfortable driving that way because it allows a little bit more airflow. But if you have your visor up, you must have a mask on under your helmet. And let's see, skid pad. Will skid pad be available? No is the answer to that question. You don't need to wear a mask under your helmet if your visor's down. So if you have your visor down, you don't need a mask. If your visor is up, you need a mask. And the link for the schedule, there was a brake pad question that was answered during tech. Where is there a brake pad minimum thickness? And the answer to that is it has to be bigger than the backing plate. VIRs are super, super long track, and so we always bring an extra set of brake pads in our car just in case something happens. If you've never changed brake pads before, the wonderful thing about PCA Potomac is that if you've never done it and you need help, the instructors will put a message on during the morning meetings or over the radio, and within, you know, a snap of a fingers, you'll have a couple people there helping you to change your brake pad. So it's a good learning opportunity for you as well. But it's always good to have another set of brake pads if you're concerned even going into the weekend. Verify that camping in an enclosed trailer in the paddock is okay. Yes, so no camping for VIR means no camping in tents off grounds or in the woods or on the lawn. But if you have a trailer that has a hookup, you are allowed to stay in your trailer. Jay would like to address the camping situation because the questions have come up. And I know, Sean, this is your, that you're next, but if Jay, if you can pop in and address those, we will be glad to give you the floor because there's a number of questions that keep popping up about camping. Okay, I don't see Jay. He's not popping up. So does a balaclava count as a mask? When I wear my balaclava, I don't have it up over my nose. So a mask, you've got to have your nose and your mouth covered. So I would answer that to be a no. That doesn't count. Windows are always down. What is the other doc besides the release and waiver of liability? So Laura, can you just confirm, the VIR?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I'm happy to. The speed waivers that you signed online are for Potomac, and most of you have done that. In addition, Diane sent out links with 2 forms that you need to fill out, print out for VIR, and you need to sign those 2 forms per person and bring those to VIR. And just email me or Diane if you can't find those links.
Okay. A lot of questions about masks again. If you are alone in your car, you can have your visor up and you can be maskless. The masks with the helmets are only if you're in a car with another person, and we should only have people who are instructors and students paired together in a car. If you are like Matt, who is married to his student, you do not have to have a mask. You guys are already swapping air on a daily basis. So if you happen to cohabitate with your student, you do not need to wear a mask. They might stop you at grid, so just be aware. You might have to show your wedding ring as well. Okay. Let's move on. Sean, thank you to everybody. Those were great questions. And I know it's confusing, and we are so thankful that you've all given your time this evening because these are things that we need to do to ensure that we can run an event. And so let's see. That's
before you turn it over, we turn it over to Sean. Let me just, one additional item. We're going to have a separate meeting for instructors, which we didn't do the last 2 events, those of you who are at Summit Point. So we're going to ask the instructors to go up to the top of the hill, which is where the false grid is. It's where registration is going to be, because we need to have a very brief meeting with the instructors. There's some things we want to go over with the instructors. So please, it's on the schedule, the location. So please, if you're an instructor, meet us up on top of the hill during the meetings. Sean.
Thanks. I'm going to keep this real quick. Student and driver assignments are done for the most part, except for like 1 or 2 people. If you registered today or there were some changes in your registration today, that'll be sorted by tomorrow. If that's not the case and you're an instructor, please reach out to your student. If you're a student, you may or may not have received an email from your instructor already. What we really need you to do is make sure that you get a prearranged meeting spot, so we don't have kind of that big bull ring of trying to introduce instructors and students. Find a spot, describe your car, find a place in the paddock to meet up, exchange phone numbers if you're comfortable with that so you can text, whatever that is. And also do some of that pre-interview work that we usually do. If you've been to an HPDE before with our club or another club, you probably are familiar with a lot of those questions that come up. That's really where we want you using this email capability that we have before the event. Afterwards, We'll be doing evaluations through driving evals. So instructors will write up in the student logbook just an evaluation of their performance. And likewise, and this has been really helpful for us so far this year, students, it's very helpful if you evaluate your instructor for us and give them some constructive feedback. So please take advantage of that opportunity to give us and make us a better instructor corps. The other question I saw, obviously we're windows down with students. You likely will have an instructor in your right seat at some point through the weekend. So that will be windows down on both sides. And also then we'll be using points, not turn signals. So your instructor will go through all of that with you. Blue and green students, you will be in a classroom before you go out on the track. And they will cover a lot of that with you there. If anything is not clear or it's different than another club that you're used to running with, please ask the question there in classroom or ask of your instructor when you get that. That's all I had. Don, anything?
That's it. That's good.
Everybody, I know this ran a little bit longer. The VIRs was a little bit more complicated or a little bit more detailed than it was at our last event. I would like to just give a round of applause to our DE committee because they've done an amazing job and you all are going to have such a great time this weekend. Again, thank you all. Michael Kaunitz would like to just say one word to address people who are new. So Michael, please go ahead.
Hey, thanks, Mia. I'm looking forward to having you all this weekend. My name is Michael Kaunitz. I lead the Driver Ambassador Program. If you've never driven with us before, whether you're a student or an instructor, you've been assigned a Driver Ambassador. You've gotten an email from me with that person's name, and hopefully they reached out to you and they've made a connection there. Consider them to be your friend at the track, being as you might not have any friends in Potomac yet, and leverage them to help you with any questions you have coming out of this meeting or anything you might need when you get to the track. So, hey, be safe, and we look forward to seeing you this weekend.
Thank you. Michael's in charge of our new driver ambassador program and that's for anyone who's never driven with Potomac before. As you can see, we've got a whole crew of people who are here to take care of you. You're going to have a fantastic time. Please ask questions before you get to the track. So you have a list of people with whom you can communicate. You can always just send it directly to me, president@pcapotomac.org, and I will direct it to the proper person. Have a great evening. Thank you once again, and we look forward to driving with you this weekend. Good night, everybody.
Bye-bye.